What's the worst thing you've ever been accused of while being completely innocent? Bank robbery. I was early for my first day as a gas jockey in a new city. I was across the street from the gas station, digging through my backpack when suddenly somebody told me to show them my hands. I was totally confused to look up and see two RCMP officers, hands on their sidearms. They didn't draw or anything. Turns out there had been a bank robbery around the corner a few minutes before, and my gas jockey uniform and backpack matched the description. They looked inside my bag, containing my brown bag lunch and a paperback, and then they were gone in a flash. Apparently, the guy didn't get caught until after another bank robbery in the same area. I helped a friend of my mother move when I had just turned 18 for no pay, and this lady accused me of stealing one of her guns. I booked it straight to the police department to explain the situation. When she tried to report me, they told her she was crazy. They already spoke to me, and that criminals that steal guns don't go directly to the police. Anabolic steroids. I was a high jumper on my college's track and field team, and we would have to do urine tests every so often. Well, one of mine came back from the lab positive for anabolic steroids, which give women who take them strong manly-like features. I was 5 feet 8 inches and 125 pounds. Luckily the lab broke the tests into 2 samples and eventually tested the second sample, showing it was clean. Apparently the lab had a contaminated batch of test tubes, and the company had to fly reps into my college to apologize to me and a baseball player this both happened to. It was a scary couple weeks. Had just moved to a new school in 5th grade. Was never great at making new friends, so I thought I'd sugar them up by bringing sugar mixed with Kool-Aid, something that was popular at my old school. Who doesn't love a bunch of 10-year-olds licking their fingers and dipping them in a baggie of sugar? Apparently, an older kid had given several first graders heroin during this time, and it got pegged on me. I was removed from class. Police came. I cried like a witch because I didn't understand why they thought my grape Kool-Aid was heroin. I kept telling them to taste it. The principal finally did and realized I was telling the truth. Awesome first week of school. Drugs. Shockingly enough, my parents' divorce made me act out at 9 years old, and I kept distracting other kids in class. My mom was convinced it was because I was doing drugs and yanked hair out of my head and made me get blood tested. They found nothing because I was 9 years old. I was accused of destroying a window at school by dropping a rock from a higher floor. Interrogated by the principal. Parents were called. Friends had to fund the repairs. Bullied on the bus. It ducking sucked. Found out who it was 2 years later. But by then nobody cared. In 3rd grade I walked to a convenience store with $2 and spent 20 minutes trying to decide what candy to get, picking things up and putting them back. The old lady clerk accused me of stealing and said to never come back. That was a bit problematic given it was the only gas station in my small town, and I've moved back and been living here for the last 15 years. I got kicked out of a sit-down restaurant during my company Christmas party for doing drugs in the bathroom. But when the manager told me to leave and that they don't allow that behavior here, my boss and 20 other employees vouched for me that I had not left the table for 2 hours. The entire duration of the party, the manager called my boss an idiot and made me leave. No one in my company has been back since. This is tame compared to others in this thread, but it's one that has stuck with me for ages. When I was really little, around 6, my aunt was babysitting me. My sweet dog was shedding fur. My aunt accused me of cutting her fur. She had me across her knee saying she wouldn't spank me if I admitted it. I was sobbing uncontrollably because I loved my dog. We were the same age, and she was like a second mom, and would never do that to her. My mom came home not long after, and I do remember her being livid. Despite my issues with my mom, she never once laid a hand on me. My mom couldn't believe that her sister never comprehended that animal sheds fur in clumps. I was 14, and had just started to learn how to use a digital camera. The only one I had at the time was my mom's. Sometime after my birthday, the SD card that was my mom's went missing. My dad immediately went to blame me for it, and my mom was hoping I didn't do it. After over an hour of interrogating me, we still couldn't find it. Come to find out, my mom had put it in her normal place of valuables she keeps it in. I didn't even get a ducking apology edit. Spelling. Probably kicking my young son. I was carrying something like hot tea or soup and he went to grab me. So I put my knee out to stop him getting close to me and scolding himself. But for some reason, everyone else in the room thought I kicked him or kneed him. Very strange situation. When I was 11, I was accused by a babysitter that I was molesting my sister when I was really playing my Nintendo DS with her. It was completely unbelievable because she said that she made it all up because she didn't want to change diapers. She got fired by my mom, and the last I saw her she was living in her car. I was 9 and a Girl Scout. I was attending a Girl Scout camp and the leader accused me of throwing trash around the campsite. She made me sit in a chair in the corner of a building. I remember crying over the whole situation. For the record, I didn't throw trash around the campsite. The leader was a mean woman. Posted this before, but seems relevant. I was fighting with my brother. Realized the fight was dumb, so I just went to my room. My brother decided to punch himself and blame me. My mom is yelling at me and grounding me. I can't believe you did that to your brother. Blah blah blah. So I figured, if I was about to get in trouble for it, I should actually do it. I turned around and actually clocked my brother in the face, to which he responded, "I can't believe she actually did that," and my mom realized he had been lying. I ended up not getting in trouble. When I was 16, I was riding with a friend back to another friend's house, and the cops pulled him over. I had nothing on me. He, unbeknownst to me, threw a bag of coke underneath my chair. Cops found it, put us both in jail, took him to county. 17 yo. Took me to juvie. 16 yo. He got out before me and hired a lawyer. Pinned it on me through family connections. Got the charges reduced from a felony to a misdemeanor cause I was a good kid and it showed. Ruined my life for a good 5 years. Just heard that the kid all grown up broke into his ex-GF's house to steal drugs and is pretty much a burnout loser. I'm applying for law school next spring. Pedophilia. But only because the person is legitimately crazy and thinks the only reason a male would become a teacher is because they are into kids. I know this is ridiculous, but in 2nd grade another child accused me of calling my teacher a witch. No one believed me when I claimed innocence, and I got a spanking and was forced to apologize. I felt so powerless because since all the adults believed I was guilty, in effect I was. I think I'm still a little mad about it. Edit. Holy crap. This is now my highest upvoted Reddit post. There was a creative writing class at my high school for seniors. You have to write a creative piece to apply to the class. I wrote a piece and got into the class. The class was in my 2nd semester. Spring. At the end of the full semester, my mom takes me out of the class. Why? She accused me of plagiarizing my paper because she thought I didn't write it. She said that it wasn't like papers that I wrote before. I did write it though. She didn't even have proof. A friend who became a friend with benefits called me a lying idiot the first time we had sex. Followed immediately by, "You told me you had a vasectomy." She didn't realize that a vasectomy just takes the seeds out of the orange juice. It doesn't eliminate the orange juice. My mom accused me of smoking weed back in high school because she found a matchbook in my pants. I only had the matchbook because it had a funny Mexican man on it, so I decided to pocket it. My real crime was racism. Stereotyping, I guess. It wasn't the worst, but it definitely hurt. My sister once accused me of stealing her laptop that she had gotten for her birthday. My dad got all pissed and said that I probably stole it so I could sell it, or some dumb crap. He kept telling me to give it back, and I kept saying that I didn't have it. Well, a while later the little witch comes out of her room holding the laptop. It turns out that it was under her bed the whole time. My sister's friend who lived with my family for a while, when we were like 15, 18, accused me of rape. She told my dad, my stepmom, my sister, all her friends and my friends at our school that I raped her. I had to find out because people were coming up to me in the halls ready to throw hands. I found her during lunch and confronted her in front of all her friends and asked why people thought I raped her. She ended up admitting that she made it up because she had a huge crush on me. She also later accused my older brother, my best friend, her ex-boyfriend, and another guy. She is a very toxic person. I was accused of plotting to shoot up my high school 2 separate times. Guess that's what I get for being the really quiet kid. But in my defense, I was just really high all the time lol. Calling a girl a bunch of racial slurs and bad words while she was calling me these things. I had witnesses too. It was very stupid. I was like 6 or 7 and my family took us to this big house party hosted at our pastor's house. While there, I found the other kids and we started playing. Well, there were some bars there along some stairs, like part of the handle going up. And this girl decided she wanted to play jail and starting pulling on the bars pretending she was in jail. And she broke the bars. So for the rest of the party she went around telling everyone look what born Slippy did. Well, that got around to the owner of the house and they weren't happy because they had just renovated it. My parents then had to offer to pay for repairs. All because I was too afraid to tell them it wasn't my fault. My mom used to accuse me of having so much potential. When I was 10 or 11, my best friend lost his Game Boy and his mom accused me of stealing it. I got pregnant at 19 and my family flipped out on me. I miscarried and they all thought I had an abortion. I definitely did not. My dad accused me of doing drugs because I was tired at 2 PM at a Walmart. Being bulimic. Not that people who have this disease are bad or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm probably as far from bulimic as possible. I think the last time I puked was like 10 years ago, when I was seasick as a kid. My doctor, however, refused to believe this due to my blood test results being whack. I even got locked up in a mental facility and everything. Selling hard drugs when I was 16. Ex-wife, I emphasize ex, told her friends I had been beating her physically. I never knew until many of our friends started avoiding me, bad-mouthing me etc. I finally asked a friend why the change. He said, "We know what's been going behind closed doors." Told him I had no idea what he was talking about. She got mad because I wouldn't give her an unlimited amount of spending money. I still have no idea what she spent the first $10,000 on. I had never even touched her nor threatened to. Domestic abuse by a partner that didn't want to end our relationship. Cost me a promotion because I was being investigated for domestic violence. She filed a false police report that initiated this, and she was never charged. A felony in my state. I've been accused of assault twice. The first time at the police station they showed me pictures of the girl who'd accused me. She had cuts all over her arms and face that weren't there when I left. This psycho had self-harmed in order to get me in trouble. Police quickly realized that, since I was significantly shorter and lighter than her, and I had defensive not offensive wounds, that I was innocent. Really ducked me up. Edit. Shouldn't have said twice. Was high when I wrote it. The second time is too recent for me to feel comfortable about writing about online in case it ever came up again. Sorry for the tease.